Thanks, dear viewers, for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the paramount ruler of the Bamenju people in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon, His Royal Majesty Sokoju Jean Rameau II, urges Cameroonian authorities to use peaceful methods to bring down the tense sociopolitical climate in the country and not repression, as has been the case with the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Legal minds unveil the unconstitutional and illegal character of some decisions taken by administrative authorities in the country with regards to public meetings and processions. Thanks once more for joining us in this edition of the news on Equinoxe television, and we begin right away with a news concerning the tense socio-political climate reigning in the Republic of Cameroon. The paramount ruler of the Bamenju people in the west region of the country, His Royal Majesty Sokoju Jean Rameau II, has said government authorities should use peaceful methods to quell down the tensions. He says that they should not use repression, as was and still is the case with the socio-political and security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Innocent has more.
His Majesty Sokoju Jean Rameau, ruler of Bamenju West Region, writes on his Facebook page on the present tense socio-political climate. He wonders where Cameroonian leaders drive the country to. That he has the impression they are delighted with the misery of the people, as their cries for years have fallen on deaf ears. He questions if a full stomach truly kills wisdom that could have instead put smile on faces. What bothers him most is how Cameroonian leaders drink the wine and break the calabash for egoistic reasons, ignoring the fact that behind them are their successors, a young generation. His Royal Majesty Sokoju highlights that greed and deafness gave birth to the Anglophone crisis, an impasse which would have been contained since 2008, when he advised the leaders of Cameroon to pamper the crying and cheated Anglophones by even promising equitable distribution of resources in future. He regrets that government rather used arrogance, pride, force and violence, which hung the destiny of Cameroon on a twine, refusing to listen to a people, preventing them from participating in the management of their country. He stresses is frustrating. The Bamenju ruler also tells those who have already organized, planned to win their war in their heads, that it is a long trip, contrary to what they think. Everyone, he asks, must bang their hand on their head so as not to wear what will overtake you tomorrow. He claims to have in the 60s seen people protest, but now advises against the insurrectional voice to all those who want to taste their share of spice in the eye. His Royal Majesty Sokoju knows that with wisdom the many idle youths be assisted, if not they will go wild and be parasized to the flesh. For tension to fall down without violence, the Bamenju ruler stresses that it is necessary those who govern tell themselves that the quantity is enough, they have stolen enough and made the people suffer, that they stop banging their hand on the chest, mistaking the fact Cameroon belongs only for them, and to invite the other actors around a table to discuss the good functioning of the country on the rules of the game, and that will allow to appease the spirits. To him, this is peaceful solution to the tensions than repression.
And what does the law say as far as public manifestations of bitter steel, public meetings and processions are concerned in the Republic of Cameroon? We put this question to a legal mind. Barrister Tamfu Richard, member of the Cameroon and Nigerian Bar Associations, spoke to The Inside. Take a listen.
To lay down public meetings and processions. Article 3 states that persons shall be free to hold public meetings no matter their purpose. So you are free to organize to hold a public meeting no matter the purpose. However, such meetings shall be subject to a prior declaration. So when you fulfill that, if you want to hold a public meeting and you fulfill those conditions, you have not violated the law. When it goes further to talk about public processions, all processions, demonstrations, parades, marches, rallies of persons, and in general all processions on the public highway shall be subject to prior declaration. So if people want to go to the street to manifest on a public highway, they are bound with these articles of the law that they have to declare. It is not like they are going to the administration to obtain an authorization. No. For example, people can decide that we want to chase away the President of the Republic. That is a purpose. That is what motivates them. The law does not restrict that you should not deposit a declaration because you want to chase the President of the Republic. No. So the purpose is an inalienable and sacred right. It's a freedom that you have to express an opinion.
We also asked Barrister Tamfu Richard, member of the Cameroon and Nigerian Bar Associations, who is competent to do or say what as far as administrative authorities are concerned, and he explains that some of the decisions taken notably by governors with regards to public manifestations in Cameroon are illegal. Take a listen.
All notes of governors issuing bans. One, the notes are being issued by the governor, who is not the competent authority. The competent authority to take such orders is the divisional officer, who is the head in a subdivision. Now, when the governor takes that decision, he is violating the law. That is not what the law says. It is not within his prerogatives. And a divisional officer cannot, on his own volition, issue a ban when somebody has not made a declaration. It is only when a declaration has been tabled to him, which he has two things to do. Either he issues a receipt, he issues a receipt immediately when you deposit the declaration, he automatically issues a receipt. In the event where he doesn't issue the receipt and thinks that there is a disorder, he redirects the venue, or if he gives a ban, he has to notify the people who came and deposit the declaration.
But the governor is above the DOs, the SDOs. He is above them.
No,
why is it illegal?
No, that is not the spirit of the law. The law says that. The law says the district head or subdivisional officer receiving the declaration shall immediately issue a receipt thereafter. That is section 8. The law prescribes which authority is competent to do what. Had it been, it just said an administrative authority, yes, but here it has precised the district head or the subdivisional officer.
And the right to free expression of opinions is equally enshrined in international legal instruments, and Barrister Tamfu Richard equally explained the international legal instruments that guarantee the right to express opinions, the right for citizens of countries who signed the different international declarations or human rights declarations and laws have to express their opinions. He equally indicates that where there is a conflict between national and international law takes over or overrides. Listen to him.
Basic text when we talk about international instrument is the Universal Declarations of Human Rights that was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on the 10th of December 1948. Article 19, which you permit me to read, it says, Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. So this is a section of the Universal Declarations that gives you freedom to express yourself, to express your opinion, to speak what you think. And you have others, because you have in the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. You have the African Charter on human and people's rights. So when you peruse all those international instruments, you will find that citizens have political rights guaranteed by those instruments, and even civil rights. When reading the constitutions, particularly in its sections 45, which states that duly ratified treaties and international conventions override national laws, meaning that international laws or international instruments ratified by Cameroon are superior to the constitution.
In other words, when there is
if there is a conflict between a national law and an international law, the international law overrides the national law. An international instrument may say that you are free to express your opinion. If the constitution says that you are not free or restricts that, automatically, as it stands today, the international instrument will override our constitution. The constitution in the preamble says that we, the people of Cameroon, affirm our attachment to the fundamental freedoms enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Charter of the United Nations, and the African Charter on Human and People Rights, and all duly ratified international conventions relating thereto.
And at a time when violence, fighting, and conflicts seems to be taken over from peace in the two Anglophone regions of the country and the rest of the Republic of Cameroon, the Presbyterian Church acknowledges the efforts of some personalities in their struggle, their efforts to restore peace and normalcy, notably in the crisis-stricken parts of this country, and of course across the board. One of them is Christian Cardinal Tumi, Archbishop Emeritus of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese of the Roman Catholic Church. Derry Jato reports.
Brother in the military, I lost a father as a civilian.
The road to peace has been a long one for these three: Christian Cardinal Tome, Madam Esther Omam, and Atigi Samuel. With the peace still far-fetched, the road ahead for them might be longer. As Anglophone Cameroon observed the 2020 edition of the World Peace Day with empty streets, Christian Cardinal Tome is remembered by the Presbyterian Peace Office for his strives. He was the brain behind the Anglophone General Conference.
One of the signature projects he has done in this country is like the creation of the Anglophone General Conference.
That some will say never took place.
It never took place. I don't think so. The idea of the Anglophone General Conference was to spark or force the government into acknowledging that there is an Anglophone crisis in this country. The simple fact that there was the convening of the major national dialogue is a vindication to the Cardinal and all those who supported him.
Madam Esther Omam years back brought these women on the streets to cry and beg the government for peace and for a ceasefire. She will later fly out of the country to meet with the separatist leaders and equally begged them to cease fire. The recent murder case in Moyoka subdivision took Madam Esther Omam to the Southwest Governor's office. Must we all die before someone take an action?
It's unbearable.
She lamented before Governor Bernard Okaliabilai. And Adigi Samuel has been here severally to give aid to his fellow countrymen, now refugees in the foreign land.
This is just a cross-section of Cameroonian refugees that are here in Amana, south of the southeast of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And today the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon National Peace Office is recognizing the peace effort of these three personalities with Peace Award. Christian Cardinal Tome in the male category, Madam Esther Omam in the female category, and Atigi Samuel in the youth category.
I dedicate this award to all those mothers and the villages who are suffering as a result of this crisis.
And as the December 6th 2020 regional election draws near, members of the traditional body in Limbe, southwest region of the country, notably chiefs, are equally getting set ahead of that rendezvous, and they met to decide on who will be their representatives. And information streaming in from our correspondent in Limbe indicates that some confusion emanated from the intervention of administrative authorities who left some of the persons who were elected to represent the chiefs in Limbe in doubts. Details with Davidson Maimon.
Behind closed doors, void of anyone who is not a chief from Fako division. Sources say camps were built with 6 contestants, all vying in for 3-seat positions according to Fako chiefs. We are told Boya subdivision is to produce 1, Moyoka and Tiko subdivision 1, while all 3 subdivisions in Limbe and Idina subdivision to produce 1, giving a total of 3. While the chiefs of Boya subdivision presented an undisputed candidate in the person of Chief Etina Monono, a second-class chief, Tiko and Limbe had to go in for an election. In Limbe, Chief David Nanyuwe of Bonadikomo Maifo, a third-class chief, had 45 votes. Chief Dr. Ekuka Molindo of Mondoli Village, a third-class chief, 22 votes, while Chief Otto Molongo Molive of Batoke, a third-class chief, had 7 votes, crowning Chief David Nanyuwe of Bonadikomo Maifo the winner. While in Tiko, Chief Kalaricha of Bonako, a second-class chief, declined before the election, giving Chief Ndike Richard of Mondoni Village, a third-class chief, a landslide victory with a total of 69 votes against 74.
Yes, it went well.
It went well?
Yes.
Are you satisfied?
Perfect.
The election, which had no agitation from any chiefs, only changed face after the senior divisional officer and his entire major came to dispatch a vital information to the chiefs.
No, he has given us, the chiefs, that responsibility.
To do what?
To select our pairs.
Everything being equal, with no official document of a first-class or second-class chief in Limbe, and going by the size and population density of Bonadikombo village, Chief David Nanyowe of Bonadikombo is certainly going to sail through, while the bone of contention lies in Tiko, as a man loved by his peers, who is a president of Fako chiefs, with same second-class chiefs under his command, is about to be punished.
I have been told not to make any statement.
The unanswered question is, if the same chiefs knew about the law, why allow their peers to go through the elections only to come out after the administration intervened?
Not an election, actually. It was just trying to see how we can understand among ourselves.
It is alleged some Fako elite are behind the mask.
In other news, Cameroon, 4 Cameroonian soldiers have been sentenced to 10 years for their involvement in the shooting to death of 2 women and 2 children. That was in 2015. The video went viral on the internet in 2018, and Issa Chiruma Bakari, at the time Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson, dismissed the video of footage as fake news and later said it happened in a Sahelian region, and an investigation by the BBC later revealed that the incident happened in a village in the far north region of Cameroon. It also identified 3 of the soldiers in the video. The soldiers were seen accusing the women of involvement with the Nigerian terrorist organization Boko Haram. Out of the 7 soldiers put on trial at the Yaoundé military court, 2 were acquitted, as well as the 10 soldiers are sentenced to 4 years. A 5th soldier has been sentenced to 2 years in imprisonment. 4 soldiers involved in the killing of 2 women and 2 babies in the far north region of the country, sentenced to 10 years imprisonment as a result of their involvement in that incident. Now we continue with our series on the state of schools ahead of school resumption. Immaculate Fogwe presents the ugly picture of some schools in the country.
A ramshackle classroom, sections of the roof blown off by wind, paints fading away. No benches to receive students expected here on the 5th of October 2020. The entire school structure has been engulfed by grass. Even the school's signboard, which is meant to direct the population, has equally been buried by grass. This is the picture of several public schools in Douala. Government School Lokbaba in the Douala 3 subdivision is not equally exempted. Several classrooms are yet to be refurbished. Though parents are expected to register their children for the 2020-2021 academic year, many of them question how safe the environment will be for the teachers and learners. While at Government School Makepe Misoke in the Douala 5 subdivision, a similar scenario is witnessed. The makeshift structures are almost at a point of collapsing. No attempt has been made to renovate the structure, a situation condemned by residents who are pointing accusing fingers at the administration. I can never send my child to a public school. This is because of the poor state of some school buildings. The administration cares less about the security of children and teachers. In less than 2 weeks, schools are expected to kickstart, but we are not sure if our children will be able to study in such an environment. I don't know if the mayor is aware of this. Parents hope that a possible renovation will be carried out in the days ahead in order to ensure the safety of those who will be using the structures.
And this is where we draw the curtains on this edition of the news on Equinoxe television. Thank you for staying with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà